And so what got you to the point where you said this is the time to share the story? Because most people will say, like, I don't want to share that story. It might be embarrassing. It might make me look this way, but you were open and completely open about it. What got you to that point was like, this is the time?
I think when I had an episode in like 2019 or 2020, around COVID, and that was just like after that, I was like, man, I got to really just hold myself accountable.
So what is an episode? An episode is a temporary period of time where behavior, mood, and energy levels are just off the chart. Like, it's really hard to manage it on your own, and it can be triggered by many things. Lack of sleep, a trigger response, environmental stressors. And in this period, when we're talking about from a bipolar perspective, there's two different types, bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 has manic episodes, bipolar 2 has hypomanic. It's just about the severity and duration of how long they last. In this particular time, we're talking about manic episodes. Manic episodes start at the base of at least 7 days. So that's 7 days of lack of sleep and feeling very energetic. That's 7 days of maybe trying to execute a bunch of ideas that don't make sense to anybody else. That can be being very abrasive, aggressive in your tone or your language, or putting yourself in situations that seem very harmless, but they're actually putting you at risk. And so a lot of people ask, how does bipolar disorder even come about for somebody? Because it seems like, especially for men, we often see it like tick, tick, boom in their 20s or 30s, right? But in reality is that bipolar disorder is rooted in genetics, brain chemistry, neurotransmitters. Some disorders, you're not making enough neurotransmitters. Some disorders, you're making too much of it. We can't always predict if we are going to have a mental health breakdown episode or illness, but we do know is that some of us are more biologically vulnerable to have these things happen. And so a lot of times in bipolar disorder, people experience a traumatic event or a stressful event, and that kind of takes them into a manic episode, and that's when they have their first experience. But what we do know about Black men and boys, and just men in general, is that a lot of their symptoms start to show in their late adolescence years, 16 to like 20 years old. A lot of times we just assume it's part of development, right? Puberty, hormones, maybe school is becoming harder for them. Maybe they have a lot of pent up energy that they need to get out in like contact sports, like football. But that is the start of them really struggling emotionally and behaviorally, that when they get into their 20s, whether it's like a trauma response from something that happens at school, a sports injury, or just life starts kicking them in the butt, that stress trigger then turns into a manic episode. And so they're confused. They're like, how in the heck am I in my 20s and I'm experiencing this, and now people are talking about I need medications, but I was okay before? No, it was building. It was showing then, but everybody thought like it was just part of natural development. So in situations like that, when the signs are there, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when. And when is that ticking time bomb? Sometimes it can even be substances that are using, like it's changing and altering the chemistry in your brain. So in the Keyshia and Gucci interview, they talked about how she was understanding his triggers and how she was trying to manage and help support him before it turned into a manic episode, which means that you can't just always turn off bipolar disorder. People can have one manic episode and maybe not have one again for a while, but throughout the course of their life and even throughout the year, they are having their highs and lows. It's just more manageable. And a lot of times it's manageable through medication, which is challenging. A lot of people struggle with mood stabilizers, and that's why they're up and down with their disorder or their manic episodes. Or disorder, we can manage it. And so what she was saying in the interview is that she's able to notice how he's writing his text messages, how he's having a lack of sleep, that if this is not managed appropriately, we're going to spiral into a full manic episode that can last from a week to months. And so the episodes or the experiences are more manageable, but it's not going away. Like we're not able to erase it. And so it's important to understand with bipolar disorder. It's important to know that nobody should be ashamed of having disorder, and that it can be managed. You can live a quality life as long as you have your support system and your treatment plan. You're doing the best that you can.